Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of Odd Sports Topics. We are a website and blog that is currently converting to a podcast format as well. My name is Michael Rachel. I'm one of the co-founders along with PJ Ellis, and joined with us is Sarah Raboine, and she is our video producer, and she'll be on our podcast as well. Peter, do you want to give a quick intro as to what our website's about?
Yeah, hey guys, welcome. We're excited to start this podcast and move forward with this. We at Odd Sports Topics, we created this blog about a couple months ago, and we hit the ground running with it. And ever since then, we've gotten really positive feedback. And many of our fans and followers have told us they would love to hear us in the blog format. So this is for you guys right here. We started Odd Sports a couple months ago, like I said, with Michael came to me with the idea. He wanted to explore the odd things in sports that fans often don't even think about or just perceive as normal. We wanted to explore why those things are the way they are. And ever since then, we've been rolling. We've got some really good articles. We explore topics such as why is home base shaped the way it is? Why do they turn left in NASCAR? Why is the basketball hoop 10 feet high? Just odd things in sports that you don't ever really think about, but you just take as normal.
Yeah, part of our mission there is exactly like Peter said. We just wanted to basically out all the odd things that people don't think about. So that's what we've done. If you go check out our website or oddsportstopics.com, you'll see on our homepage our most recent articles we've released. And then if you go ahead and click on the different tabs at the top, you'll be able to see all the articles we have written. Saranda, do you want to give a very brief introduction about who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Serena Raboine, and I am currently a student at the ASU Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. I'm studying sports journalism, and I heard about Odd Sports Topics through the grapevine, actually from a friend of a friend, and thought, they are doing some really cool, interesting work, and thought I should reach out and try to tag on to the bandwagon while it's still a startup, and because I know this is going to go places. And so I've been working in video and sports video for about 4 to 5 years now, and I'm just happy to be involved. And yeah, I'm actually the only one is on the West Coast. I am based in Phoenix while everyone else is in the central time zone, so I am a little bit different and a little bit out there, but I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, we're
Before moving forward, I want to say let's go Blues. I'm from St. Louis. I grew up, born and raised in St. Louis. So let's go Blues. We're going to repeat this year in the Stanley Cup if hockey comes back. So just wanted to shout out the Blues.
And I'm from Milwaukee, so big Bucks fan over here, hoping NBA comes back. Just quickly before we actually get started, Sarandon has actually developed her first video with us. So go check that out on our Facebook page. It's kind of a similar format to how Now This does their short 60-second videos. So go check that out on our Facebook. It's about tennis scoring. So it's very interesting, and we're going to continue to do those hopefully on a weekly basis here. And then I just want to quickly give a look into how our podcast will look in the future. So other than this week, we're going to plan on having a guest every single week for the future. And these guests will include athletes, coaches, and people that have worked in sports before and have encountered these odd things that we are talking about in our articles. So next week, we're going to have Adele Linderman, who PJ and I both know, on the show. She will give us insight into working in sports, and also she got drafted into pro softball. So that'll be interesting to see or to hear about the experience there.
I'm really excited to talk to her. She did pro softball. I played softball in high school, so maybe she could give me a bit of tips and tricks so I can get to pro softball.
Adele's great. Me and Michael both worked with her at the St. Louis Cardinals. And she went to my alma mater, Lindenwood University in St. Charles, Missouri. So we've gotten to know Adele really well over the last couple of years, and we're excited to bring her in and kind of have her explore what she's done in her professional career as well as her playing career when she played softball as well.
Yeah, so we're definitely looking forward to that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a guest every week, and we're going to center our discussion around the interview, and then we're also going to try to discuss something that we've talked about in one of our articles. So Peter, do you want to go ahead and introduce the article we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago at this point, I wrote an article on the history of the NBA logo and Jerry West, and how unofficially Jerry West is the logo and why he is the logo. And it was just basically the fact that they hired a designer to design a logo for the NBA when it was an upcoming league. And the designer saw a picture of Jerry West that he thought embodied the game of basketball. And he converted that photo into a logo that we know today. They never officially gave credit that was where he got the inspiration from. So the logo is not technically Jerry West, but everybody who is a fan of basketball and just knows anything about the basketball world knows that Jerry West is the logo. So we want to just kind of talk about that and whether we think that he should remain the logo or if they should change it to a player who embodies the league better than Jerry West did, or if they should remain it just for historical and all those kind of purposes.
Yeah, so basically the big talk around the NBA right now, revolving around the logo, is that Kobe Bryant should replace Jerry West as the logo because Kobe very tragically passed away in January of this year. And so it is very interesting to see how the league has, kind of taken this idea of Kobe and how it's, how he develops the league, how he's, made the league better, to kind of honor him in a way that, really goes beyond his time with the Lakers and his time in the NBA to beyond. So I know a lot of players and a lot of fans were kind of, petitioning for the NBA to make this change because it would be a really great way to honor someone that honestly died before his time.
Yeah, the NBA has done a good job already of honoring Kobe. They had the All-Star game format switched to where the teams were 8 and 24, and just everything about the All-Star game was meant to honor Kobe, which it was definitely necessary at the time. I don't think Kobe would be a bad option for the logo. I also think you'd have to look at somebody like Michael Jordan too. Somebody who, when you think of basketball, when you think of the NBA, he is the first person that comes to your mind. It's the fact. He's one of the greatest players of all time. I don't want to get into that debate today. But when you think of basketball, you think of Michael Jordan. So I think that either one of those guys would be a viable option. Not that Jerry West was not a great player, or he's been an even better general manager and executive, but I think when you think of the NBA, you probably think of Kobe or Michael first, but I don't necessarily think that means they should change the logo to those guys. It's up in the air.
Yeah, I think it is super interesting. My own opinion here is I think the Jerry West like silhouette that Alan Siegel designed, which is based off Jerry West, as Peter talked about, it's so like unique and different than like other logos in the MLB, where they just have like a normal guy holding a bat, in the NHL. Whereas like I think there's so much history surrounding that I would personally keep it. But again, I wouldn't be against changing it either. It would just be like a matter of what would we change it to? Would it be like Kobe's fadeaway? Would it be Michael Jordan's Air Jordan? But I don't think the Air Jordan's even possible because that's his brand. So I don't know if that's even like legal to do that. And then the whole thing of they'd have to pay somebody because Jerry West technically isn't the logo in the NBA's eyes. They've never announced that it is. So they're not paying him anything. They're just using a silhouette that was designed by Alan Siegel. So there's definitely both sides to the coin. I personally would keep it just because of the history, though.
When you also got to think too, money-wise, I wrote an article this past Tuesday about why the Lakers are named the Lakers. And part of the reason they didn't change the name when they moved to LA from Indianapolis is just because the Lakers brand, it would have cost them a lot of money to change. And at the time, they didn't have that money. Not that the NBA doesn't have the money to change their branding completely, but it would cost a lot of money. The NBA logo and the silhouette of Jerry West is everywhere. Every arena, all their merchandise. It's a global brand. So it would cost a lot of money to change it. And then not only that, is when you change something like that, you lose a little bit of brand recognition from fans. So you got to think about that stuff too. It'd be great to honor Kobe, but it would take a lot of money and just progress to regrow that brand, that new brand. So it's another thing you have to take a look at too.
I could definitely see maybe the NBA or the Lakers doing a memorial in maybe a year, to do maybe a limited edition hat collection or limited edition, something along the lines of, maybe changing the logo up a little bit so it is Kobe. It wouldn't change the logo officially, but it would give recognition. I could see them maybe doing something along those lines just because I know that the fan output and the player output was so vocal that, the NBA could use it as a marketing and money strategy rather than, spending all that money to change the logo everywhere.
Or you could even just, I know it was a conversation when he passed to just retire 24 or 8 league wide. Obviously the Lakers did it, but I know there was a conversation of it would be a good way to honor him if they just retired it league wide. So no player ever again would wear 24 or 8. I know some players also said that they felt like they were honoring him by wearing that number because that's what they felt that he wanted them to do, is to carry on the legacy. But the league can do a lot to honor him. I just don't know if changing the logo to him is what is necessary.
I think another thing is like Kobe was such a giver when he was on the earth, and like he was trying to help the WNBA and he's trying to grow these things. I'm not sure. Obviously don't know anything, but like I think it's important to keep in mind, like, would he want to be the logo even? Because like Jerry West has said that he doesn't want to be the logo, but Kobe, like, I don't know if he'd want his like face and name associated with that, because he wants to grow things and stuff. And I think maybe putting him on that would be something that he wouldn't even want. Which we've seen with Jerry West in interviews with like Rachel Nichols. He's like, I don't even want to be the logo. So I think we don't want to like change the logo to something that someone or the family of his don't even want. So that's another part to it.
Yeah, you said family there. I think it'd be really good conversation to have with his wife and children too. I know recently his daughter kind of said that, hey, I don't want to see these videos and Instagram and all that stuff of my father, just because it's hard to grieve and move on. So maybe that's not even something they would want to do. It's obviously a conversation you'd have with him. It would be a great way to honor him. He is one of the greatest players of all time in the NBA. He embodied everything that was great about the NBA, and he was taken way too soon from us. So it'd be a great way to honor him 100%. I just don't know if the family would want that, if the league is able to do that financially. I mean, they aren't able to do it financially, but if they'd want to do it financially, or if, the players want it too.
Sarandon, is there anybody else other than Kobe that you would think would be a good logo? I know I'm putting you on the spot right here.
Yeah. I mean, the Jordan conversation. I mean, he did so much for the league as a brand, he literally kickstarted it from not only a national sport to an international sport. I know people over in Europe who literally didn't watch basketball before Michael Jordan, and now they're like obsessed with it. I know people who, just know Jordan from the brand, and that's how they got into basketball. I mean, his reach, and we saw it in the Last Dance documentary. I don't know if either of you two watched it.
Yeah.
But we saw just how much of an impact he had on the sport and as on the world as a whole. And I mean, that would be probably the only other person I could possibly imagine that would be worth taking the logo and changing it besides Kobe. But I think, again, you run into does he want it, because he has his own brand disassociated from the NBA, which has his likeness and the silhouette, the Jumpman logo. So I can see him saying like, no, I don't, this does not interest me at all. Personally, I don't think he would ever do it, but he would be the only other player I think worthy of changing the logo for.
Just real quick, I think before you go, Peter, he's also like a part owner of the Hornets. So I don't know if that's even like allowed to be part of the logo. Well, I guess Jerry West is involved with the Clippers.
So the Clippers and the Warriors and
I
the
guess.
Lakers he has been in the past.
But again, he's not officially
the logo.
That's a great.
So
it
would
all
you do
goes
something
back
like that?
to the, it's under the table. We know he's the logo, but he does not get paid for it. He does not get sponsorship for it. He does not get any of the benefits of being a logo.
I wonder
could you do that something with Kobe? Like if you had the Kobe fadeaway silhouette, but it wasn't necessarily.
Then I think you run into
this isn't Kobe, but when it's Kobe, could you do something
problem.
like that? Or
I mean, it would be a bad look for the NBA if they were to take Kobe's likeness and not say it was. I think that would be even worse. I think, it's just because he has such an iconic fadeaway that it would just be so easy to pick out, especially if they change the logo at all. They're like, who are they going to change it to? Like Kobe. And then, it would just be why are you using his likeness and not giving any money to the family? Not giving any money to his foundation, like anything like that. So I think they would run into more problems if they were to change it and not say it was him.
Yeah, that would be a bad look. That would be a very bad look. I didn't think about all that. That would be a terrible look for the NBA and bad PR. I don't think they would go that route.
Oh my God, it would be a nightmare for them.
Go ahead, Peter.
Go ahead. They've been a very good league PR wise. in general, they handle things pretty well. So I don't think they would ever go that route. I was simply throwing that out and wondered if they
Yeah,
could do
I
something
think,
like that.
if you look at the relationship between Adam Silver and the players and, the union and the actual NBA organization, they have one of the strongest relationships between any of the 4 major sports in the United States. I mean, I'm not even going to get into the baseball mess right now, but like it is so much better than what is going on there.
Yeah, I want to go a little conspiracy theory here. I don't believe this, but I just thought of this. All right, so do either of you think there's a chance that the NBA approached Jerry West and was like, hey, we'll go ahead and announce that you are the logo and we'll do all this, but with being associated with the logo, you can no longer be, associated with a singular team? Do you think that's possible? And then Jerry West turned it down because he's like, oh, I want to stay with the Warriors and then eventually the Clippers? Or do you think that I'm just making stuff up at this point?
I doubt it. I think they've always kind of looked at it as, hey, we have this logo and it's very successful and we don't have to pay anybody for it. Let's keep it that way. So I don't think they'd ever approach him because I don't really know what the NBA would gain from officially announcing that Jerry West is the logo.
They lose a lot
we all
of
know
money.
it is. Yeah, they lose a lot of money and we already know it's Jerry West. So it's not like we'd be learning anything different. Like if they officially came out and said, hey, it's Jerry West, we all know it is. So I don't know what the NBA would gain from that. And I don't know. I mean, Jerry West would gain money, obviously, but if he was tied down to one team, he's probably lost a lot of money too. Because I'm sure he's made quite a bit of money in his executive roles throughout his years with the Warriors and now the Clippers and the Lakers. And
Yeah, I don't. The NBA maybe had a conversation with him and saying like, listen, you're the logo. We know you're the logo. We're not going to announce it publicly so you can keep living your life. And then, we'll just keep making money.
yeah. So I want to toss out the idea you said, Michael, you asked if you think anybody else should be the logo. I know this was before Kobe's passing. And it was NBA Twitter, so it was not like any official source. But I just remember seeing throughout NBA Twitter that LeBron being a possible option too. I know while he's playing, that's not realistic, but in his retired days, it'd be hard not to at least him be in the conversation. If the conversation's between Kobe, Jordan, then I think you have to throw LeBron in there just because of what he's done for the league and being the face of it for the last 10 or longer years. I think he'd have to be in that conversation. I'm not saying necessarily I think it should be him either. I'm just saying that he would be in that conversation at least.
Again, I don't see him wanting it. That's the problem. I don't think the logo is going to be changed in the modern era because every player now has the power of social media, has the power of branding that they've never had before. I mean, it was tough with Jordan because he had a shoe deal and it was right at the cusp of the internet age. So there was a lot more connectivity than there was in the 80s and the 70s. But I mean, every player has their own, I guess, they can make their own brand if they choose, and they usually do. So the fact that they would consider doing the NBA logo, I don't see how much they would gain from it if they can make their money exclusively for themselves based off their own likeness. I guess that's what I'm saying.
I think it'd be more so of a recognition thing, like, hey, I'm the logo. Like, not necessarily a money decision. I don't think it's necessarily the smartest money decision because your brand can be so much bigger than tying it down to the NBA and what they'll pay you. But it would be pretty cool to say you're the logo of the league. Like, I'm sure LeBron would love to say it. I'm sure Jordan would love to say it. And in theory, hey, I'm the face of the NBA and always will be until it's changed again or whatever it would be.
If it is going to be changed, that is going to be an amazing, social media time. And because like our conversations on who's the greatest of all time already get super heated. And then, who's even like the MVP of the season, like Giannis and Harden and then LeBron, they've had their beefs over like their fan bases. And if we're going to like change the entire face of the NBA on like what they are like symbolized as, those debates are going to be popcorn worthy. That's for sure.
It's Giannis, by the way. I don't even think it's close for the MVP.
I mean,
this year.
I'm
but
a little biased.
Different story for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, no bias. I'm not even that big of a Bucks fan, but it's Giannis hands down.
What if they had a different MVP for when they come back? It's like, who played the best in Florida? I mean,
that's a whole different debate, and that's a whole different debate if the NBA is even going to come back at all. But
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Exactly. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I agree with you, Michael, there. I think NBA Twitter, which is famous for being a very fun time, would be crazy if the NBA announced, "Hey, we're looking to change the logo. Who do you guys think it should be?" That would be a very fun day on Twitter. I would be happy to have that day because it wouldn't even be a conversation of who should be the logo. It'd be a conversation of, "Hey, who's the greatest of all time?" And then it would move from there.
What's that new trend going? It's like for this player, retweet for this player, and comment for this player.
Comment for this player. Yeah.
But the comments
Start
are
one, bench one, cut one.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to throw one of those up on our Twitter account at Odd Sports Topics. Go follow us.
Who should be the logo?
Yeah.
Yeah, go follow us at Odd Sports Topics on Twitter.
All right. I think we're good with the logo debate then. Does anybody else want to cover anything before we wrap it up?
No, I just want to say hope you guys enjoy us. Like you said, Michael said, you can follow us stay in touch with us on our Facebook, on Twitter at Odd Sports Topics at both of those. Our website's at oddsportstopics.com. So just check us out. We have a contact form if you have any ideas for topics you'd like to see us cover. If you just want to leave some comments of what you want to see us talk about on this podcast or what you want to see us do moving forward. Our first interview next week, I think, will be a really fun one, and that'll be kind of a milestone for what our podcast will look moving forward. But if there's anything else you want to see us do or cover, anything like that, please let us know. We'd love to cover it and talk about it. And more so just thanks for the people who have been reading our articles so far, and hopefully you guys enjoy this podcast.
Yep, major shout out to them. So just like Peter said, go visit us at oddsportstopics.com. We appreciate you guys listening. Next week, we're really going to start getting this thing going, and we hope you're here this week and next week listening to us.
Yeah, and we have an article coming on what it'll be.
So go check out our last article, which is a team name Tuesdays on the Pittsburgh Pirates and how they got their name, which is actually a very wild story. And then Peter will be releasing a story on Friday as well.
Yes, so be on the lookout for that.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
See you later.